How you doing, Anthony?
Yeah, really good. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, Anthony. Looking forward to speaking about marketing, everything marketing, and just really listening to what value you've got and giving my opinion on your knowledge.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of interesting conversations that we've had previously.
Yeah.
That aren't recorded. So obviously, this concept of this video style is something that you can gain so much more value from.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when they're less video scripted and stuff like that, you get more of an insight to it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think, like I said, it's definitely a good idea that we want to speak about marketing and something that obviously we spoke about, I think, since I joined Change Online.
Yeah, very key. Yeah, and I think having that little fly on the wall type conversation is going to bring out some good value. Like we've been doing over the last few weeks, having good conversations off the record, off camera, and it just really provides that next level, value that sometimes doesn't come out when you're facing the camera directly. So
definitely, yeah, it kind of reminds me of our first conversation that we had together, where we spoke about like the marketing history, what marketing we've both done, and how obviously we have a similar route into e-commerce marketing and digital marketing.
Yeah.
But my marketing background was more started like building brands and building corporate brands.
Yeah.
Where I started officially working within banking systems and working under agencies.
Okay.
Where I'd develop agencies and take a company from 4 or 5 people to 70 plus. And I think that journey of having that corporate side of it, understanding obviously the corporate idea and how to have that branding idea to be more official, is that gives you the confidence to then dissect that and make it more friendly and make it more real. I think there's differences between corporate branding and e-commerce branding.
Yeah.
And I think obviously the appeal for your e-commerce branding is it's more friendly, it's more down to earth, and it's more relatable.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main reasons why I switched over from corporation and corporation agencies to where I previously worked for the past 5-6 years before coming on Change Online full time within the digital marketing agency.
Yeah. Yeah. So your history of marketing all stemmed from the banking.
Yeah. Wow. It stemmed from the banking. It was one that I kind of like. I have a marketing history within my master's degree,
okay,
but weren't in a position to pursue it until I went into marketing, into the bank. My original plan was, like everyone, I think you play football, you used to play sports when you were younger, and my original plan was to go and play football. I was either going to go to America or somewhat serious there. Unfortunately, I went into banking and kind of got myself a career that way. It wasn't one that I'd kind of gone the education for it, but hadn't done much inside of experience, which I think sometimes experience mass is what you pay for and what businesses look for.
Do you feel your degree helped you much?
I think
with what you know now, looking back at the degree, has it really benefited you much?
I think you learn different terminology, and I think it's very good to understand a certain element, but I think you learn more doing, especially with marketing.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always found within my degree is that if the people who were educating you had a business, they wouldn't be educating you.
Okay.
So I find like they're very limited in their knowledge. So they can read from a textbook and they can teach you from a textbook.
Yeah.
But 90% of what you learn online isn't in a textbook.
Absolutely.
You can get an education, but that education is very corporal set. That education is very much graphs and figures, as opposed to you need to break it down a little bit more. You need to be personal. You need to be that attractiveness. You've got to make, for e-commerce, you've got to make marketing look a little bit more sexier than like corporal is very much tie and very strict.
Okay, so we can see the whole marketing changing all the time. What do you feel about social media marketing at the moment? Because we touch on social media marketing heavily through Change. I do social media marketing. I've been doing it for a while. So what are your thoughts on social media marketing as it stands?
I think social media marketing is the key to. You either look into marketing organically or within a paid media. I think it's the only way that you're going to excel within a marketing business.
Yeah.
Predominantly, most stores now, you look at, for example, up north, you have the Trafford Centre, which obviously is a massive shopping retail. 90% of the stores there are paying to be brand awareness, and they don't actually gain any value within monetary returns.
Yeah.
So it's that level of you're only going to excel and you're only going to expand by shopping online. And I think that's coming more and more present and coming more and more to the limelight with, you've got the likes of Amazon that's continually building, that you've got that instant now, you've got all stores, you've got social media increasing organically, the power of TikTok, the power of Instagram and stuff like that. And I think it's something that you've mastered in terms of stores are very sales.
Yeah.
But I think when you look into what you do within your influencer marketing and what you do as a person, your persona, what level of engagement, because I think we've had a previous conversation where you sometimes get more of an attraction and more of an engagement with family content sometimes as well, and creating that diversity.
Social media allows you to create a story around what it is, who it is you are, and what it is you're trying to achieve. And as we all know, consumers, they buy into stories, more than anything else. So I feel social media has so many different things that you can kind of plug into to show who you are as a person, and really get your story across. It's a great way to provide value. It's a great way to keep people updated on where you are as a person or a brand. And I feel social media just gives you so many tools that, just showing a store can't give you. Showing a store is very selling, where social media, you can provide value. So my approach on social media, and I feel what's made me very successful on social media, is I never sell. So if I wanted to sell, I could, create a website and sell. I would much rather provide value than sell, because people will buy into the value that I'm offering, and I'm able to then give people a more of a insight of who I am as a person. So, like you say, showing kids, showing my day-to-day life, but at the same time showing others that this is possible for them to live this life, which is very hard to do via a website, just uploading videos and bullet pointing and writing big paragraphs that not many people want to read anymore.
And I think relating that to a store as well, and I think you touched on it there, is you can show your personality. And I think people get confused, is that the way I see it is branding is your personality. It's just your store's personality.
Yeah.
It's how you want to be perceived within the market.
Yeah.
And I think, again, you touched on it there. People buy from people, and not from stores.
Yeah.
So it's that level of trust. People want to buy into you, and that's why they'll buy on a repetitive. If your product is good, and obviously the service you're providing is good, but people trust the element of your store. People buy into your persona.
So like, it's like watching a YouTube video, Anthony. I watch certain channels, probably a few times a week. I feel like I know those individuals, but they ain't got a clue who I am, because I'm getting to know their personality. I'm getting to know the slang they use. I'm getting to know who they are as people, purely just through watching them on YouTube. Now I'm becoming more invested into these individuals, because I feel like I know this guy, but actually he hasn't got a clue who I am, because it's just a video he's uploaded. So I feel, those types of videos, or should I say content, that allows you to really see the true colors of somebody. When you're watching the same person day in, day out for months, if not years, you really start to build that connection, and start to relate with their message and their content. And you can't really offer that through any other platform.
I think what you touched on there as well, you said it months and years. And the key to anything, the key to whatever you do in life, whatever you want to be successful at, is consistency.
Yeah.
If you post irregularly, then you've not got level of consistency. You've not got that level of attraction. And I think the way that marketing is changing and the way that the media is changing, in both traditional media and in paid media, digital marketing, and the newer ages of media, is that the attention span of people has shortened significantly.
Yeah.
So if you're only posting irregularly, maybe once a week, by the time you've posted it again, someone's forgot about you.
Absolutely.
So that level of engagement, that level of attraction, that level of the way that you do it, I think you bring people along for the journey. You're not just there to say, okay, change online's this, change online's that. You want people to understand you as a person, your family, Tammy, Brooke, you introduce them to your life. And I think that's that level of engagement that they want to buy into. They buy into you. And then, like I said, the attraction that you've done with Change Online, I think we've had multiple conversations where you're very specific who you invite into Change Online family, like with the experts you get and stuff like that. And it's that level of trust that people's instilled their trust into you. And then from that, because they trust you, they trust your product, they trust your service, they trust your experts.
Absolutely.
And it's what you've developed from the ground up is why you are successful. And why you continue to be successful is that consistency. You're always present.
Yeah, I feel as well you're able to let people know the parts of your journey. So it's not an easy ride. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to, and constantly putting out these messages on a weekly basis really starts to ingrain it into people. So when they do come through, they set themselves up to succeed, and what we're finding within Change now, and you'll see this, Anthony, through the marketing, is the majority of our members have the right mindset. The majority of our members understand it's a process. They're not here to go through the training and then quit, because they understand that it's a process and it takes time. Maybe because they've sat there and they've listened to my messages for a few months. They know, what it takes before they've even started, because they're digesting the value that I'm.
You have the best example of that is Ben. I can't remember his last name, but the guy who owns Gymshark.
Yeah.
He failed 15 businesses before making Gymshark, and now that's the first e-commerce billionaire company. Now that has a real life example, but we have that so often in Change Online. You've got members that may not have succeeded with the first store.
Yeah.
They may have made minimal profit in the second store, but in the third store that they've made profit, because like I said, it's the education that you provide. The education is transferable between stores.
Yeah.
But it's that development and understanding and awareness that, like I said, they have that drive, they have that desire. And now we have Mark Hemsley, who previous stores might not have been successful. He was getting sales, but he wasn't happy with the level of sales. He's then developed, and he's now, £15,000 a month.
There's a quote I live by, Anthony, and that is, or a saying, should I say, and that is, your first business might not be successful, your second might not be, your third might not be, but your fourth can make you a millionaire. So it's very important that you go through the process, because there's a lot of valuable lessons that you're going to learn along your journey that is going to shape you into who you need to be to become, a millionaire. So, if the goal is to become successful, it's not necessarily what is it I need to learn to become successful. It's the person you need to become. And that can be discipline. That can be, the consistency. That could be absolutely anything, but you need to go through a certain process sometimes. If your first business doesn't work, you're not ready. It's not your.
It's one of them ones where it's very cliche, but you learn more from your losses than you do your wins.
Absolutely. A failure is a part of success, not the opposite.
And I think if you understand that process and you have the mindset of that, you will be successful. I think the issue is sometimes people see failure as failure.
Yeah.
And it might sound silly, but like you meant, that failure is a success. Failure means that you're one step closer to being successful. That element of that, okay, this part has not worked, what can I take from that section that has worked? Okay, the imagery got a good CPM in terms of, okay, we got good engagement. Okay, let me use that concept of that imagery with my new store.
Yeah.
So it's all about understanding what's working well and how you can then implement that in a different terminology, in a different light. But I think one of the big things about Change Online as well is that you preach as well, is that we are your network. Like, if you do feel stuck and if you do feel a bit lost in the moment, we have an expert in majority of the fields.
Yeah.
Or the network that we have, I know graphic designers, we know videographers, influencers. You can get posting like the Met or the health fitness and stuff like that. Like I said, there's always an avenue that will push you forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people value the most. Is, like I said, and sometimes people get lost in the moment, but the value we can provide in terms of, okay, this is your next avenue, this is your next step, and then progressing forward is what's required. And I think that's what, like I said, as Change, we try to develop that. We try to give people the answer on. If we don't have the answer, we'll get the answer.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think my life and business started to change when I realized how important building the network is, as I speak in videos about. So I think it's very important that you use your network, you exploit your network. How many members have come through Anthony and said, Anthony, I've got connections in this industry or this niche, and we're like, okay, cool. Or we'll get a member come through and they say, I've been doing this, I've been in this industry for 5-10 years. And we go, okay, cool, what do you know about the industry? And we try and plug into that. So I think it's very important that you understand how important the network is, having the right network. But obviously marketing's always changing, marketing's always changing, Anthony, as you're fully aware of more than anybody else. And I've seen a lot of changes since starting e-commerce, almost 10 years ago myself.
I have this conversation with everyone. And no matter me, you, the knowledge that we have, we've been in marketing for combined 15, do you know what I mean, plus years and stuff like that. We have good marketing experience, good marketing knowledge. But if we didn't become adaptable, and I think you used a quote, and the quote that I use as well is either evolve or extinct.
Yeah.
you can quite easily become extinct in terms of marketing. The knowledge that I know might be not the knowledge that's required today that was tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or the day previous, sorry. And if you're not continually evolving your knowledge, someone who may have started marketing only a year ago might be more efficient in what they're developing now and what they're utilizing within their marketing strategy. That's going to get better results.
Yeah.
So it's that constant level of changing the marketing, changing your mindset and making sure you're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Something that happens at the moment is that, like we touched on before, attention span is dwindling.
Yeah.
And this is because of apps of TikTok, Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
And the desire of having it now because of Amazon, because you can get Prime, you get next day delivery.
Yeah.
So the way that you've now got to somewhat reverse engineer your marketing strategy and your content, you've got to show them the results and then the journey before it. Whereas before you'd show them like the story and you could be quite slow-paced marketing. You could slow-paced content. But now you've got to then show them the results, then how you got the results.
Yeah.
Because they want to see what they're going to achieve. You've got 3 seconds to initially gain that engagement. And then if they've not got that engagement, they're gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see that a lot on social media. Social media has changed massively since I joined, I think Instagram in 2015, 16. The algorithm was insane. You'd put a story up and if you had 1,000 followers, 600-700 people watch your story. Mm-hmm. If you had an account now of 1,000 followers, you'll get 100 views in your story. The algorithm has changed and they require new things all the time. So now they're pushing Reels. The most engagement you're going to get is through Reels, where before you would get the same engagement posting a photo, but now they prefer 16:9 posts. It's always changing, and it's very important, like you say, to adapt to these changes, because micro is you either adapt or get left behind.
Yeah.
And there's simple ways of doing this as well. So, you can literally load up a YouTube video to watch the latest algorithm updates and look at what you need to do to stay within, organic traffic reach. And but it's very important, that I'm pretty sure there'll be another big update on social media very soon, and then there'll be another one after that. So it's very important that you don't look at, okay, I know X, Y, and Z, and I don't need to learn this anymore because I'm making sales through my business. Them sales will soon stop if you don't adapt to the changes, because like Anthony, it's forever changing.
Yeah, 100%. I think I can remember 2 years ago, previous to the iOS, a lot of your Facebook marketing was about finding niches and finding small detailed targeting. You could be very much niche within 500,000 would be perfect size for an audience.
Yeah.
Now, if you're utilizing 500,000 reach at the moment, you're probably going to gain no impressions. You're not going to gain any results because it's too narrow.
Yeah.
A lot of it now is large base audiences, and you can tell that for the contrast. If you were still utilizing the old format, your results would dwindle. You wouldn't get the results. You're not going to achieve enough of engagement. You're not going to achieve enough of the impression shares. So your CPM, your cost per impression, your CPC is going to skyrocket. Your click-through rate is going to decrease.
Yeah.
Because you have to be personal. You have to be more engaging with your audience. You have 3 seconds to get that initial phase. Then you've got to make sure that at the moment, content is key.
Yeah.
Frequency is good because people are consuming data and consuming data at larger amounts. TikTok, you have millions and millions of users each more. Facebook, you've got billions of users every day. Yeah, I think you've got over 2 billion concurring monthly users on Facebook.
Yeah.
So the amount of the impression ratio that's going like that, your content's got to be always evolving as well. You can't just put one ad live and within a week the frequency is going to skyrocket. Everyone's going to see it more than once. Then you're not going to get purchases. So you've got to constantly be evolving and constantly adapting to new content ideas, making sure that they're on key, making sure they're on brand as well. Because I think the disconnect that a lot of people do is that they may get a fantastic video. They may get one that looks really perfect. But if that isn't cohesive with what you see on your website or what you see on your Instagram, then people will go, there's some disconnect here.
Yes.
It's not familiar. And then that unfamiliar will set off alarm bells and they'll go, okay, I'm not going to purchase from this.
Yes.
But everything that you present, so even though to your typography is perfect. So your text is always the same. Your tone of voice is always the same. Although AI is coming more and more, AI can't be you.
Yeah.
Because it's not got your personality. It's not going to use the slang you use.
Yeah.
It's not at the end of every sentence going to have LFG.
The famous LFG. What's your largest deal, Anthony, you've closed?
So the largest deal, so in terms of B2B, that's obviously, we don't really touch on B2B, but for myself, I was at the end of last year, my monthly spend within advertisement across Google and Facebook was around about 700,000.
Wow. Okay.
And that was me spending it. We returned, I think the return was like a 2.8 ROAS. So for the month of December, we spent 700. Returning that would have been like just shy of 2 million.
Wow, that is incredible.
In the month of
That's
December.
some serious money.
And I think it's that type of money that you use, and you're going to accelerate your experience. You have to be quite clever, and like you have to learn from mistake very quickly, because you are spending people's money, and you are spending obviously that money and that value.
Yeah.
So there isn't a lot of room for mistake.
Absolutely. You're not playing around with £20-30 here.
No, you're not. You're utilising a lot of people's marketing budget.
Yeah.
So you do have to be very much specific. And like I said, the results that drive there. But the format of marketing, you can integrate it across different avenues and different industries. The format of a video, like I said, reverse engineer a video can be in a dog industry, as long as you show the product first. In the female industry, a hair one, you show the hair product, what it's done, and then the story, the journey behind it, stuff like that. To introduce. So, like I said, fortunately, the way that marketing is going, the concept of creating a video, the concept of creating your winning content, there is a familiarity within what you can do. So there is, and again, marketing is changeable between different industries. If you learn the foundations of marketing, you can integrate that across whatever industry you want.
So ever since marketing myself, there's always been that first 5 seconds on YouTube as an example. You've got 5 seconds before you have the skip button to impress. But it feels as marketing is evolving and platforms are changing. I'm starting to find that the 5 seconds is going to 4, the 4's going to 3, and with the whole attention span, touching on that again, it's people do not want to sit there and watch long form videos anymore. So,
100%.
I remember in the early days of marketing, you can create 1 minute videos and, there'll be watch rates of 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you would never, no matter how good your ad is now, you'll never get a 30, 40 second watch.
No.
And it just goes to show with what you're saying there, you're showing the result to begin with. And then you're telling the story, because people won't listen to a story anymore. So it's showing up the results. So I saw an ad the other day for a teeth whitening product, which is it starts off with white teeth.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the story and it shows them grab the product, put the paste on their teeth, and then it shows the results again at the end of the video. But it was a short form video, which was around 10 to 15 seconds, no longer than 15 seconds. And that video was making them some serious money.
Yeah.
So when you reverse engineer that, like you say, Anthony, you're looking at, okay, what are they doing from the very beginning? And it's showing results. Because straight away you're triggering the emotions of the people, no disrespect, that are watching the video with yellow teeth maybe, and they're like, wow, I want white teeth.
Well, we've spoken about quite often that the people buy emotions more than anything.
Yes.
So how can you play on that emotion?
Yeah.
So can you create a fear of, okay, do I have yellow teeth? That is you create so you provide a solution.
Yeah.
Someone already has that fear.
I did that straight away, Anthony. I turned my camera on reverse mode and I looked at my teeth. Do I need this product?
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I might need that product. Like you cause that level of that fear. People buy emotions all the time. And like by providing a solution, you've given them solution to the question they may already ask them. If someone is self-conscious, and like cosmetics is a perfect example. Everyone, especially in today's because you've got Love Island, you've got multiple like garbage TV, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
The stuff you don't watch.
The stuff you don't watch. But it's all about how you present yourself, how your looks are defining. Now, people can make a lot of money from looks.
Yeah.
But it's that fear that they can put into someone like you know. So obviously, okay, I don't look like that. I've not got a six pack. I might not have perfect teeth.
Yeah.
How can I get perfect teeth? Okay, this solution here whitens your teeth.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's going to make me. And it's like I said, people already have that fear of wanting to better themselves.
Yeah.
You're essentially just saying this is going to whiten your teeth. You're not saying do you have yellow teeth. You're not being quite critical in terms of you need this. Come on, let's buy it.
But any type of product that's going to help you with your, should I say, your social image is always going to be a good selling product. And a lot of these big companies have realized that. And that social media is to blame for that, because without social media, people didn't really care as much before social media of what they look like. With now social media, everyone wants to post a perfect photo. Everybody wants to have, I've never known so many people growing up to have veneers. I didn't even know about veneers when I grew up, and with me being 35 years of age now, it's only the last kind of 5 to 10 years people are really coming out and getting these veneers and hair transplants and all of this stuff, because they want to be on social media with that that perfect look because they're feeling insecure. And what these big brands and companies are doing is they're preying on these people. They're preying on the people that want that perfect image. So products like teeth whitening, I guarantee if you go back 15 years ago and you look at their numbers back then, it would nowhere near be what the numbers they're doing today, because people didn't really care as much before that social media
100%, 100%. Yeah, like I said, that social media image and stuff like that, like teeth whitening brands do well.
Yeah.
But I think the brands that do well as well are the ones that are somewhat white labeled. The ones that if you do want to succeed and stuff like that, you can go into, just to touch on briefly, is like white labeling, because then you have that personal attraction to it as well. You're gonna gain more success. So like I said, as much as you might get the idea, okay, teeth whitening products are doing really well at the moment, I'm gonna do teeth whitening products. It's try and avoid jumping on trends.
Yeah, I agree.
You want to be attracted to your own product. You have more of an attraction if it is white labeled, because then it is your spot, your bespoke. It's got your logo on it. It's got your branding on it.
Yeah,
your terms of, like I said, and I think that's the future of marketing.
Yeah,
and I think that's how personally I see the future of marketing, is that dropshipping is a fantastic place to learn an education. You will get sales, but we see it all the time.
Yeah.
We can reel off 20, 30 plus members that are doing. We spoke about one earlier that's done 30 grand this month. That I weren't earning that when I was earning a salary. I think me and Reece spoke about it. Reece were earning that when he was a chef. You don't have 30 grand, but the 30 grand in a month.
It works. It works.
I mean,
but there's
dropshipping
levels.
works.
There's
But
levels.
to take that to the next level, you then need to add your logo on it. You need to then be specific with your product, the imagery that you're utilizing. You level it up, because then you become more aware of it and you become more attached to it, because it is your product.
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that is the retention as well. So it's how they perceive the product. You know, like when they receive it, what's the first impressions? Yeah, what packaging does it come in? You know, is it branded packaging? Is it cheap Chinese packaging? What packaging does it come in? You know, and is it a good looking product that they could potentially share into their story on social media, which now their friends see and go, wow, what's this?
Yeah,
and now
100%.
you have organic traffic coming to it goes such a long way. It's not just making the initial sale, it's the retention, it's the sharing on social media. And I know members put business cards into their products where it's share on social media and receive 10% of your money back. Now, off one sale, they can make 3 sales. So it goes a long way. With dropshipping, you can't do any of that because you don't have any involvement in the product. You're basically
You're a middleman.
You're the middleman. Future of marketing, Anthony, because we know, obviously, we've been talking throughout this video about, you know, marketing changing and, you know, the history of marketing, which you've come a long way and you've changed so many people's lives. What do you believe is the future of marketing? What would you say?
I think the future of marketing, you're still going to utilize the main predominant platforms. You're still going to use meta marketing for Facebook and Instagram. I do believe that the attention span is going to come less and less. I think you're going to start to be involved more with your thumbnail.
Yeah.
So that image before a video plays, even though it's only up for a split second, that's what's required to get that initial peak of attention, that peak of, okay, this is what I want.
That already works. So when I'm scrolling and it shows the thumbnail as you get to it, I stop. And that could be the difference between stopping and carrying on.
I think we're already seeing it as well, is that in-market purchases or in-app purchases as well. So TikTok Shop's doing really well.
Yeah.
Facebook Shop's going to be really good. Instagram Shop's going to be really good. In-app purchases is going to be massive, and the more that we move forward. But I'm interested in, since Elon Musk is a marketing genius, since he brought Twitter, I'd believe that Twitter you can market on Twitter. It's not the best. You utilize it very similar to Google. You'll use keywords, you use trending topics and stuff like that. But I do think with Elon Musk buying, I think there's going to be a new platform that's going to be erased from there. So I think Twitter's definitely something to keep an eye out. And I'm also interested in see what Apple does. I think Apple's going to have its own marketing platform. I think since iOS and since it controls all the media and all the data that it receives, I think that's what it's building towards, and I think there will be different platforms that become more bespoke.
Yeah.
I think it's going to become more hyper-focused even more than it is on your content.
Yeah.
I think content is going to be key. And I think the integration into AI is helpful, but the idea is that you still got to have a personality behind it. AI can be aware of itself, but it can't be you.
Yes.
It can't be your brand. there's still going to be an input needed and required.
But these things are positives, Anthony, because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand this, and there's a lot of people out there that will build a store with AI and believe it's going to make money. So it leaves more room and more opportunity for the people that do understand, okay, AI isn't 100% there yet, that there's a lot of work on AI that needs to be done. But yeah, I truly believe moving forward, I think the algorithms will always continue to change. And I believe as time goes on, only the best content will be presented on social media. I think, the better the content of social media, the longer the users will stay on social media, the more ad revenue that these companies get. Yeah. So I truly believe you've seen a big change already, you're getting less and less images popping up that are basically just shit images. When I used social media in 2015-16, it was Chinese image after Chinese image after Chinese image. I think a lot of people have either woken up to how important content is, how important UGC content is, and I think Instagram have also found a way to remove or even ban, and we know this, restrictions on Facebook, we know how tough they are. I think they've become so tough that these people that don't really have a clue on what they're doing with marketing, that used to post these cheap Chinese images across everybody's feed, have slowly disappeared, because I think Facebook have really tightened up on that. As you know, you can't create a new Facebook profile, link it to an ads manager and expect not to be restricted. You're going to get restricted. So I think it's had a good clean up of their system already, because I only tend to see now good advertisements, good content. And in order to survive in e-commerce, in order to succeed in e-commerce in today's day and age, you have to have good content, and you have to have, which is what we teach here within Change. So 100%. Anyone watching this right now is going to know that, we're not going to settle for nothing less. We don't go with stock. We don't use stock images as ad creatives, So I believe moving forward that the content has to be good, by all means, which will eliminate a ton of your competition straight away, but you still have competition, which is the main thing. And I think most of our members are on track. I think having connections like Chanel, that you have, Anthony, that provide nothing but good content, provide nothing but straight to the point kind of results, story done, call to action. We're only going to see members make more and more money through this, and with us continuously updating our system and continuously, improving. Should I say improving? I'll say more updating the system, and keeping up to date with the latest trends and the latest updates. We're only setting our members up to succeed, and we're seeing that with members right now.
You can see improvement in terms of the quality that we are providing is, in terms of knowledge, is always going to be improvement. In terms of, you brought Aaron on to do the videos and stuff like that. We are leveling up because we want to give the best service. We want to give them the highest quality of videos, the clearest sound, stuff like that. We want them to understand, because you are a reflection of what your product is.
Yes.
And if we're not putting in the work and we're trying to improve the quality of what we're providing you, the knowledge is always going to be top up, and the knowledge is the one that we update. But how we provide it to you is, we're looking to improve, and we're always looking to improve.
Yeah, and that is quite evident, to be fair. If you look at some of the OGs of Change that have been here for a few years, it's like a completely different system,
100%.
And just being here on this retreat, how many conversations have we had about implementing this, implementing that, changing that, adding this and adding that, and it's just continuous. It's exciting to think where we're going to be a year from now, Anthony. How many more members are going to come here and change their life and make money? Where are we going to be 5 years from now? And it's just that work ethic and that mission to serve and help as many people, the people watching it right now that are here to change their life, the people that have invested into themselves. That's what it's all about.
100%. And like I said, you'd say if we changed one person's lives, it could be a coincidence. You change two, all right, lightning strikes twice. But people, when we're doing 20, 30, 40 plus people, and you know what I mean, we're only changing people's life for the benefits.
Absolutely.
We're providing people the tool, the knowledge, and the experience that we have that's second to none, and we're changing people's lives.
And we haven't even touched on B2B in this.
Do you know what I mean?
We haven't even touched on B2B.
There's so much value, and there's so much that even about outside of B2B, there's so much that we speak about, and the ideas and how we manifest the ideas and how we want to integrate and stuff like that. There's only so much time that we have to do them, but we are constantly evolving, constantly bringing ideas, and constantly leveling up what services and what content we can give you guys, what training we can give you guys to give you the best efforts and the best tools to change your life.
Yeah, and members' results are a reflection of that, you know.
Yeah, we're making them yearly salaries in months.
Absolutely. Anthony, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It's been a good one.
It's definitely been a pleasure, yeah.
I've learned a couple of bits myself on this one.
Yeah, always. It's always an
insane.
education. It's always an education.
Good stuff. Appreciate it. Thanks, Anthony.
Cheers.
Thanks.